Welcome back to the channel. I'm Chase and this is All Things Rome. Today we are looking at the Rolex Tiffany Blue Oyster Perpetual Homage by Pagani Design. Now today we are looking at, again, that Pagani design. Now I am still working on my new studio space, so forgive the background. All this is going to change and upgrade over the next few videos. Now today I was super excited to finally get my hands on that Pagani design Oyster Perpetual OP Homage that, just gives you the feeling that maybe that Rolex that is far above its retail value. I think right now the Tiffany Blue Rolex OP is going for about $19,000 on Chrono 24. Its original list price was just under $6,000. So that's a little insane. If you can't afford that, well, maybe this is the watch for you. I always tell people, and I've told them in a lot of videos in the past, what you should do first is get the homage to the watch that you truly want to make sure that you indeed like it and are willing to spend that money, because there are so many stories of buyer's remorse, to include my own. Always recommend getting that stuff first. Now, I have been wearing this watch for about 2 weeks, so there is going to be some scratches on it because I truly do not believe I can truly give you guys a review without actually wearing the watch for a period of time first. So let's flip the camera around and dive right into the review. Okay, and this is the watch we're talking about today, the Pagani Design 40mm OP Homage to, of course, the Tiffany Blue dial. Now, Pagani Design does not want to admit that this is the Tiffany Blue Homage, so in their terms, they call this the, quote, Sky Blue dial. Whatever they want to call it, Pagani Design calls it the Sky Blue. Islander watches or Island watches, which I will be doing an Islander watch on their version of the homage for the OP, the Robin's Egg Blue. That is in order right now. Everybody wants to call it something different, but honestly, it is the Tiffany Blue homage to the Rolex OP, the Oyster Perpetual, that is just completely out of control right now with the pricing. So let's go hands-on and let's discuss this watch right here. Now, why is this watch so dang popular? Well, some people may say, well, it's the blue dial, and you're right. The blue dial does make it extremely, extremely unique on the wrist. In fact, this blue is not like any other blue. People who have had blue watches know that something like the Omega Seamaster or another type of watch, maybe it may be another Rolex, because a lot of Rolex has deep blue dials, but not a whole lot of watches have this light blue dial. And specifically, it is the Tiffany Blue. It's a unique color that is only representative of that Tiffany name. Now, of course, this is Pagani Design. This is not Rolex. The Islander watch I will be reviewing is not a Rolex. It is a, quote, Robin's Egg, but they're all the same color. They're all the same shade. They're all the same unique color, and it is just this pastel blue. And honestly, I think Pagani Design really does do a great job. Now, why does Pagani Design do a great job? Well, that's because this watch itself is a direct homage from the original Rolex OP, the Oyster Perpetual. In fact, the case is extremely similar also. The case is a 40mm in diameter. The original Oyster Perpetual is 41 in this size. The case thickness of this watch is 11mm, so it's not too thick, and it does have this really nice, smooth, high polish cushion style case. Honestly, it's really difficult to get a watch of this high quality or caliber outside of something like Pagani Design anywhere else. Honestly, this watch comes in at $120, and the finishing of this watch, it is high polished, so it is extremely easy to do, is very, very good. Does have brushed on the top, does have a high polished bezel right there, and this does have a sapphire crystal along the dial, right? It's to protect that dial. Now, the back right here is a solid stainless steel, and it does have a rather unique design right there, but this is a screw down case back, and honestly, this watch offers 200 meters of water resistance, which is extremely rare for a watch like this. The original Oyster Perpetual is 100 meters of water resistance, so this offering 200 meters of water resistance is just a little bit better. Now, this does have a screw-down crown, and it does work quite well. Now, inside of this is the NH35A. Now, the NH35 is a Seiko workhorse. Everybody knows the NH35. If you're in the watch, enthusiast world or the watch world, it is the workhorse. In no way is it special at all. It beats at 21,600 beats an hour. So it is technically a smoother beat hand, but it's not considered a high beat movement, but you still get a smooth beat right there of the second hand, 6 ticks a second. Not too bad. Honestly, this thing does have a ghost date, so you pull it out the first position and it is a date that doesn't exist, and you have to pull it out again to go ahead and set the time. Does offer hacking and hand winding, but everything is smooth as you'd expect. Now, again, this does have a 40-hour power reserve, and it does have a accuracy of plus or minus 10 seconds a day. Not really too bad for any type of highly produced movement like the NH35, which is cheaper and far more affordable and is in most micro brands itself. Most micro brands that, cost upwards of $400 or $500. So again, this watch is only $120. Now, this watch does have a solid stainless steel bracelet. It is indicative of that Rolex stainless steel. However, it does have, things that you would not expect for a watch this price. An example would be it does have solid end links there. Most watches at this price have hollowed end links. This has solid end links, solid links throughout, nice brushing across this 3-link bracelet, and it does have high polish along the outside. The clasp right here is a proper milled clasp with a safety clasp, and honestly, it is done quite well. Most watches, again, in this price range, unless it's Pagani design or similar, does not offer such a good bracelet. Honestly, that's where they sort of, cut the cost when it comes to finishing a watch. Now, speaking of the bracelet on this watch, it does not have a quick adjustment like other similar style watches. Now, it does have sort of that glide lock clasp style, but it is in no way a glide lock clasp style. It does have a quick link adjustment to give you a couple millimeters, but on the inside there, it does have, micro adjustment points. Honestly, to get it right to your wrist isn't too difficult. It didn't take me very long at all to find the perfect fit. Everything clips into place perfectly. Now, this watch on my 7¼ inch wrist fits nearly perfectly, as you'd expect a watch at 40 millimeters to fit. Honestly, the footprint or the lug to lug on this is rather small, and honestly, it fits quite well. I'm extremely happy with just the way this watch overall is designed and built. The build quality of this is far superior to a lot of watch brands out there, but that is because it is made in China. And even though some people really do discount Chinese watches because of underpaid labor markets and stuff like that, honestly, it's really hard to find a better bargain out there. Most watches of this quality, of this high caliber, are going to cost you $300, $400, even $500. Honestly, a lot of these Chinese watches, again, even if you have an opinion on the way they do things, you cannot discount the fact that they do bring you a good quality product. Again, 7¼ inch wrist. This thing fits nearly perfect. Love that Tiffany blue. Can I even call it a Tiffany blue? Let's call it a sky blue, because that's what Pagani Design calls it. But it is an extremely attractive pastel blue that is going to catch the eye. And if you don't have $20,000 to spend on a $5,000 Rolex Oyster Perpetual, then this may be something that just slightly scratches that itch or gives you the feeling of the watch before you decide to pay that premium. What do you guys think? Now, how do you guys feel about this watch? Do you love it or hate it? Leave it down in the description below. I got a lot of videos coming in the future. I have a dive watch, the world's thinnest dive watch. That's an automatic coming up. Is it really the world's thinnest. I can tell you why it is and why it isn't. That is coming up in the next video. Then I'm doing some GPS modules for your vehicle, for stolen vehicles. After that, I have so much watch stuff though coming up in the future. In fact, I have an entire pile of stuff that I will be reviewing. I'm trying to do a video every 2 to 3 days, but I'm still trying to set up this new studio space. But after I'm done doing that, there is gonna be some consistency when it comes to the video releases. So make sure you guys are hitting that subscribe button, leave a comment on the content you guys would like to see in the channel, leave it down below. Also, make sure you guys are hitting that notification bell so you can be notified when I drop that next video. Until next time.